CITT. We're the quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. So as I've mentioned on the show before, that half-penny generates a roughly $400 million a year. Good years, a little more. Bad years, a little less. 20% of those funds are distributed to all of our 34 municipalities in Miami-Dade County for the cities to use towards transportation and transit services. And really, no municipality does a better job of that than the town of Cutler Bay. We love all of our municipalities equally and all our managers equally, but I have to say that, Ralph, you are one of the best managers we've had the pleasure of working with. So welcome to the program, Ralph Casals, town manager of the town of Cutler Bay.
Well, thank you, Javi. I think our best extension is in Cutler Bay is that we're the youngest municipality.
Yeah.
So I know that there's a bunch of kids. And we're the youngest. So we just turned 20 last year.
Well, congratulations.
So I've had the honor to be with the town since its inception in 2005, was the public works director, and in 2012 became town manager. Mm-hmm. And a nice highlight, this past week marked my 14th year as town manager. So I've seen the benefits.
Which, by the way, for managers, that's a lifetime, right? You know, the managers sometimes have a kind of a short life cycle, and they must love you there. You've been there a while.
I must be doing something right? But we have a great group of bosses, so I think it's great, and I think something that we know we take great pride in for us, as you mentioned, the amount of funds that are given by the CITT. For Cutler Bay, that equates to $2.5 million per year. 80% to transportation projects, and the other 20% to transit projects as well.
So what do you do with that 20%? What do you guys run?
So we, since 2012, have been running the circulator through Miami-Dade County through an interlocal agreement. So my transit department is Miami-Dade County Transit. Right. And we have a circulator that kind of runs, I call it the train on wheels, throughout the town. And we have almost close to 5,000 riders per month. Okay. When we set the plan up, we made sure that we hit all our senior centers, as well as a lot of our places of interest, as well as the high school. So you have a blend. In the morning time, you have a lot of our seniors that are moving around. And in the afternoon, you have after school programs and the high school kids that are kind of moving around in town. And it's a free service.
Is this still Metro Connect?
This is right now Miami-Dade County Transit.
Right.
They call it the 500 local.
Okay.
And then I have the micro mobility. See, I'm using your terms, right?
There you go.
The Metro Connect as well.
Yes.
So we have two different things.
Them both.
And the Metro Connect, when we instituted the Metro Connect, that we were actually were able to secure some funds from the FDOT Smart Demonstration Funds, as we all received. And we had such a great success that we actually had that grant renewed 2 or 3 years already.
That's excellent.
Again, we're operated through Miami-Dade County. Mm-hmm. So Miami-Dade County, they operate our Metro Connect, which is VIA, and we move that first and last mile, and we move approximately another 4,800.
Right.
And interesting when you look at that, when I was looking at both reports, I thought the circulator bus ridership was going to go down, but actually went up.
Interesting.
So, yes, small little Cutler Bay, 45,000 residents. Mm-hmm. We have only like 38 employees. Folks, we're moving 10,000 people a month.
That's great. And now, complementing that, of course, is this brand new service that's also run by Miami-Dade County, the Metro Express. Tell us about that, and how is that working out?
The Metro Express, we call it the BRT. Mm-hmm. We're lucky enough to have 4 stops in our town. And what we've done is integrated our first and last mile, as well as our municipal circulator to feed the stations there. So it's been working out great. For us, it provides residents another way to connect to Metro Rail all the way to the airport. One of the decisions that I needed to make was to keep the service with Miami-Dade County. Why? Because you could simply go on the phone app and say, I live at 10730 Caribbean Boulevard, and it'll tell you catch the 500 local, which is our circulator operated by Miami-Dade County Transit, to the Alpata BRT stop, catch the Metro Connect, and then get to the airport.
Metro Express. Yeah.
Metro Express.
Yeah,
Metro
yeah.
Express, and then
So
get
it's
to the
all
airport.
seamless. It's all interconnected. It's not confusing. Right?
That's why I wanted to make sure that we did not have our system just isolated. So that's why we maintain our relationship with Miami-Dade County since 2012 to operate a circulator, and since I would say maybe we're probably moving on to like our 6th year with the Metro Connect.
No, I think that's really smart. And to be honest, I'm surprised that more municipalities don't do it. I think you're the only one. I know, people want to do their own thing, but there's so many advantages to just allowing the people who do this for a living and are already operating the larger system to go ahead and do yours as well because of that interconnectivity and that seamless integration.
I think there's a lot of cost savings there too.
Sure.
One, we don't have the staff, just to manage that, right? So the Miami-Dade County Transit Department provides us an account manager as well as through the Metro Connect. So my public works director, besides doing other things, it manages that project with those 2 individuals, manage it on their side.
Yeah. So you're doing great things, and there are great new investments in transit in Cutler Bay. Let's switch over to transportation. As you said, up to 80% of the funds that you get can go towards other transportation improvements, roadway, traffic calming, bike ped. So what are some of the things that the town is doing there?
Well, it's funny because this October will be 20 years that I've been with the town. And we've had a great success and partnership leveraging our PTP funds as well as securing funds through a joint participation agreement, JPA, with Miami-Dade County, and as well as our partners from FDOT grants and FDOT LAP grants at a different level, right? A different level of scrutiny. So
this is the government acronym show, folks. You're going to learn a lot of acronyms here today.
Yes. Yeah. So since our incorporation, we followed the vision of our town residents with various charrettes. When we incorporated, there was an Old Cutler Road charrette that was done before we were created in 2005, incorporated. And then there was the Cutler Ridge charrette, which encompassed the old Southland Mall. So we took those elements into the master plan and then started planning out the roadways. I'm giving the long lesson because I think it's important for us to do a nice victory lap and congratulate all of our partners, okay, the CITT, the TPO, as well as Miami-Dade County and our friends at FDOT. Why? Because in Oak Cutler Road, that was our first road that we did 2 traffic circles on 87th and 97th Avenue that became the business corridor. That was the vision of charrette. Now we did the infrastructure, bus pull-out bays, decorative pavers. We pinched the intersections, right? So that way there's less time for someone to walk, but also it slows down the cars. We were doing complete streets before complete streets was a thing. We just didn't know, right? We were just doing it that way. So that project, Old Cutler Road, was an example of a joint participation agreement. And at that one, we actually won an award. So we weren't done yet. Then we go to Caribbean Boulevard. I remember when we were going through the public involvement meetings, what, you're going to put curbs? No way, people are going to die. How's the mailman going to get to my house? He can't jump on the curb on the sidewalk, get to my front door.
Right, a lot of NIMBYism as usual, yes.
We did all that, and we survived that. And again, on Caribbean Boulevard, complete streets, drainage, curbing, lighting, crosswalks, pinched the intersections, another complete streets project, another award. Then we move on to the current one that we're at towards the tail end now, which is Franjo Road. Franjo Road, we're actually doing the final lift as we speak right now. And that was another drainage, lighting, curbing, bus pull-out bays, landscaping, intersection improvements, traffic circles. 2 more traffic circles there to make it safer intersection, realignment of intersections. And that one too was another joint participation agreement. But Javi, we're not done yet. We're actually now starting to work on Marlin Road.
Wow.
We were able to secure 2 grants for the design, and the design is about 85% done. And we were able to secure some funding through Congresswoman Salazar for $4.4 million, another $1 million from FDOT LAP, and we're leveraging our PTP, CITT money as the rest, and we're working with Commissioner Cohen-Higgins and our friends at Miami-Dade County DPW to fund the rest of that gap. We have proven that we have done these roads, again, Old Cutler Road, Caribbean, Franjo, Marlin. None of those are our roads. They're all county roads, but they all intersect.
Sure.
And the vision for that was not only from the charrette, but we also had a complete streets master plan funded through the TPO that kind of laid out the design and a lot of public involvement meetings. So all the elements that you see there is public involvement meetings. So it's definitely a grassroots effort.
So I love everything about what you said. Starting with collaboration, right? I think we get a lot more accomplished when we work together with others and we leverage each other's funds and the capabilities. The leveraging, the halfpenny was always intended to be a match to attract state and federal dollars. And accomplishment, right? I mean, you're getting things done, and not necessarily all at once. It's one road at a time, just to show incremental progress, and that's how you get things done. So, congratulations, and as a result, you're being recognized, not just with the awards you mentioned, but I think you had a more recent one. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so more recently, we had Alfredo Quintero, our Public Works Director, received
great guy,
received a distinguished award being Public Works Director for the entire state of Florida through the American Public Works Association.
Wow, that's huge.
That was amazing, and then also
congratulations, Alfredo.
Yes,
well deserved.
Absolutely. And then we also had a project of the year that was done, a traffic circle with FDOT LAP money, leveraged with PTP money off of 103rd and Lanier Drive. And we won project of the year as well for a small scale project. And then also his administrative assistant received a branch award for exceptional performance award, Cassandra Silva, as well in that department.
And I should mention that Alfredo was also a semifinalist for our Trailblazer Award at our inaugural Mobility Matters Awards program earlier this year. So, the problem you're going to have is you're running out of room on your shelf for all these awards and accolades. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to build a new wing to City Hall to accommodate all that.
We talked about internally that we're setting such a high bar.
Yeah.
Right? We're setting such a high bar that residents are saying, well, or you're going to win an award for Franjo. I'm like, well, let me finish the road first.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But I think also the important part that people don't see on the roadway improvements is also the water quality improvements. A nice catchy phrase, stormwater drainage. And we were just received an award from the American Association of State Flood Managers that we actually went up to Milwaukee. And we won the 2026 James Lee Witt Local Award for Excellence.
Wow.
I thought it wasn't a big thing until I said, wait a minute, there's only been, in the last 34 years, 2 cities in the state of Florida that actually won it.
Yeah.
And this was a national award. So I'm like, okay, let's go up there. But when you go up there and you're getting the award, you're seeing, I'm a certified floodplain manager as well as Alfredo and most of my staff, right? We have actually 7 out of 37 employees that are floodplain managers. And you're sitting there, Javi, and you're looking at outside the crowd and you get 2,000 people and they're like, wow, you're being recognized in front of 2,000 folks. I said, man, we must be doing something right.
That's great.
That was another accomplishment we did.
And we don't talk about drainage a lot because it is not a sexy topic. People take it for granted, but it's incredibly important, especially in Cutler Bay, which is a low-lying area, especially as sea levels rise. I mean, people really need to think more about that issue and invest in it because, if that water doesn't drain, the city doesn't function.
And it's a treatment too, right? Yeah. I mean, we're a coastal community. We know that every time we do a roadway project, it's not just simply mill and resurface. The roads that we discussed, Oak Cutler, Caribbean, and Franjo, we went all the way down. We tore the road up. So thank you to all the residents with all the patience that they had there. I mean, you literally come outside your house like, where is the road? And now there's we went below the road to put in the drainage and then account for sea level rise as our master plan and raise the road as well. And the water quality treatment. Why?
Sure.
We all enjoy the Bay. We know it's a $5.6 billion economic engine for the Dade County. And I tell folks all the time, where do you think that water's going? It's going to go to the groundwater table, or it's going to go to a drainage, or it's going to go to a canal out to the bay. So we always incorporate stormwater projects in our roadway improvements.
I appreciate it. As someone who's always out on the bay from Black Point, I cut through your town quite a bit on weekends to go boating. I appreciate that because the bay is in trouble. So anything we can do to help is appreciated. Now let's talk about bicycle pedestrians. So. And micromobility, if that's something that your city's into. So what's going on in that arena?
Well, the roads that we discussed, all of them either have a dedicated bike lane or shared use path. The most famous one is Oak Cutler Road. We have a nice shared use path there. But we're also looking at other corridors there to connect the bike paths, right? Because we have a pedestrian and bicycle pedestrian master plan, also funded, thank you, Eileen Buckley and TPO, funded by TPO. So again, what we try to do is we're not just making up these projects. We go into our master plans. The projects are ranked and ranked by the residents through public involvement meetings. So right now, our next project that we're gearing up is on 87th Avenue and 212th Street, and then you have Old Cutler Road. So you got one bike path here, very popular, Black Point, 87th Avenue, and then you have Old Cutler Road. So it kind of like starts separating there, and there's a common road there, which is called Southwest 212th Street, that we inherited years ago when we took over from the county. That is a 4-lane highway to nowhere. Nowhere. It stops on Old Cutler Road and it ends in front of like the high school. So there, we're actually doing a nice project that we're applied for a grant to reduce the travel lanes, create a safe bike lane with concrete barriers, not the little white sticks that people love knocking out and over. A nice
protected bike lane.
A protected bike lane, similar to what the county did years ago on Southwest 212th Street. To create a nice lane, reduce the lane traffic from 2 to 1, and include traffic circles.
That's great.
As well as that project. So we had the support from the cyclist clubs, and it's going to literally end up, to another segue, right into our Legacy Park Municipal Complex as well.
That's fantastic. Well, you're doing a lot. And yet, as if that isn't enough, you're also growing as a city, right? And those two things obviously complement one another, right? Transportation and land use and development are two sides of the same coin. And you have one of the more exciting development projects, I think, in Miami-Dade County taking place. Tell us about Southland.
Okay, so the old Southland Mall has been purchased, which included Macy's, Sears, and the mall proper. The ownership group bought the property. It's about approximately 83 acres. One of the reasons why they were buying it is because we were marketed that it was going to have the BRT stops. That is serviced by 2 stops: the BRT stop on Caribbean and the one on Alpata. So that is a good segue to talk about how important transportation is. It's already being,
it's a catalyst.
It's a catalyst. It's and it's already being fed off of 2 exits from the turnpike, and then you have US 1. So when you look at that, my running joke with developers was, all you need is a runway. You have everything here. Sorry, I can't give you an airport. You got a BRT, 6-lane highway, and 2 exits from the turnpike. This is it, right? And I think that is, again, a result of the Cutler Ridge charrette. We have a master plan that the developer is, in fact, he already knocked down Kmart and knocked down Sears. We've approved administratively over 800 units. The developer is going to end up, when it's all built out, it's going to be a $1.5 billion impact.
Wow.
It's going to have over 5,500 units on this 83 acres. It's going to have another 300,000 commercial retail. It's going to have a 140-room hotel, and maybe 50,000 square foot medical arts building as well.
Wow.
All that
a true mixed-use campus. It's really not a development. It's a campus.
It's a campus being fed and being anchored also, right? Anchored, we talk about the Miami-Dade County Courthouse that's there. You have the Dennis C. Moss Center there.
Which is great, by the way.
Which is great. And then you also have the regional library that's going through a big $6 million facelift as well. So you have all the intricacies of a city. And then you know what? Sprinkle in Social Security office as well.
And by the way, with all this talk of property tax reform, if that were to pass, those municipalities who largely depend on homesteaded properties for their revenue are going to be hurting. So smart to really kind of diversify and bring in more commercial and more mixed uses to help essentially subsidize those revenues that may be lost.
Yeah, and I think, and the folks that follow us throughout the years, and my role as manager is being very transparent. Deliver good news when it's good, deliver bad when it's bad. And during our 2 weeks ago, we had a budget visioning workshop that, yes, there's going to be some serious implications if the property tax reform passes for Cutler Bay. At the $150,000 homestead exemption level, the town will receive $2.5 million less. Right. 2.5. We receive right now 11.8. It's only 39% of our budget. So we don't have a big dependency on ad valorem, but $2.5 million is a big hit. Yeah. At the $250,000 exemption, it'll be a $4.3 million hit. Yeah. So even though it hasn't passed, we're going to go start launching a campaign of all different services we have. For us, it's like somebody who has like 1% body fat and you still got to lose more, right? I wish I did, right? But you got to lose more. So for us, it's going to be really tough decisions to make. And I set the table already a couple weeks ago to have that mindset, because they're showing the polls are almost like a 70% polling rate, and once you get somebody into that voting booth, and it reduce my taxes,
Sure.
people are going to vote.
Don't always think about the consequences. They just
don't think about the consequences. Although what we could do in our town is just show how lean and mean we are.
Right.
But I was very transparent with both the town council and the public of what the implications will be in Cutler Bay.
Yeah. How about other developments taking place outside of that?
Well, I think we have our big project. Our big project is our Legacy Park Municipal Complex. It's right on Old Cutler Road. Again, part of the visioning process in between the two traffic circles, right next to the new public shopping center. We were able to purchase 16 acres, and we were able a couple years ago to go out to get a bond, a general obligation bond, for $37 million. And then we went through the master planning. And now we're going to build a $49.9999 million complex there, which is going to be a 3-story town hall. It's on 16 acres, and there's going to be a community center, a pool, and a pool building, and then you're going to have 12 acres of open land.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
You know what I love about what you've discussed today is you're tying everything back to I'm an urban planner, so I appreciate planning, but all too often, as you know, all this money and effort is spent in developing a plan, and then it sits on a shelf. Or leadership changes, and they come in with their own ideas, and they ignore the plans from before. You have laid out a plan, and you have continued to implement components of that plan over time. How have you managed to do that? How have you managed to maintain that stability that ties to the plan, when others fail? What do you think the secret sauce is, other than having an excellent town manager, which helps? I think that stability in your role helps tremendously.
I think that helps carrying the vision, but I think I go back to ground zero, right? The vision that the residents had during the charrette process before we were incorporated. It goes back to the first council, the inaugural council, God rest his soul, with Mayor Cosgrove.
Yes.
Then Mayor Paul Vroman. Then we had Mayor McDougall. And then we had Mayor Bell. And now we have Mayor Mirabal.
Mayor Bell, who is a board member of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust. We love her. Hi, Peggy.
Yes, absolutely. We have a nice advocate voice there. So, and then now we have, Mayor Mirabal. Yeah. And I think not only that, but also the councils that served. We continued to keep that front burner, keep the high priority of the master planning phase. So almost like, I guess, everybody's watching like a lot of the World Cup, right? And you have the folks from Norway that they're always doing the little stroke. Well, we've had the lucky chances to have all our council, stroking the same way, right? Seeing the same vision throughout. Where you tie it all in and you continue the vision of the residents. So really, I'm one of the luckiest town managers in the world because what we're doing is following the vision. It's not like I'm just picking, let me go do a drainage project over here because somebody's complaining. No, It's part of our master plan, part of the vision. So we are just continuing that vision.
You're underselling yourself because you keep using the word luck, and it's not lucky. You've made your own luck through excellent leadership, through excellent management. You're an inspiring manager, and the most important thing is you do what you say you're going to do. You get it done well. You get recognized for it. And so it's easy to follow a vision when you have competence in leadership and management. So kudos to you and your team.
Thank you. I always tell people I'm that old guy. I mean, I started my career when I was 17 in Florida City. Mayor Wallace just retired. So I'm 57 now. So it's like 40 years. I tell people it's 40 years of experience or doing it wrong, right? But I think it's important that you have that. And also, it's our staff too. Yeah. I mean,
got a great team.
As I mentioned, we've been incorporated for the last 20 years. My average tenure on my staff is 10 years. 10 years. That's important. So that when you do pick up the phone, you talk to the code compliance officer, or you talk to my public works director, or you talk to my parks director, they basically almost know you by first name basis. And that's important to the retention of talent that we have in Cutler Bay. I mean, it's great that we have almost 10 years of tenure for each employee. Yeah.
Mr. Manager, anything coming up that the public should be aware of? Any workshops they might want to attend?
I mean, the question I get all the time, and I want to go back to development, right? So I talked about the Legacy Park, a $49 million complex, but most importantly, the one that I get asked all the time is, what about Flanigans?
Oh my God, my favorite place on earth.
All right. So we did
I love my Flanigans.
we did a little spoof video with Jimmy Flanagan, the mayor, saying "coming soon," exchanging hats. 590,000 views. I don't know too much about social media, but I didn't get that many views for town hall. It's going to be right in front of our town hall.
Yeah.
So the question I always get, when's that coming?
That's great.
And again, that's part of the vision of the charrette, is having that. I call it my little coconut grove along Old Cutler Road.
Yeah.
2-lane highway, historic highway. It's not going to get expanded. You have your civic center. You have your restaurants, you have the brand new Publix, and you have other places like Rod Bender, Sandbar. You have Party Cake Bakery there. So you have a lot of different entities there besides the typical mall shops that you're going to have on US 1. So you have like 2 different commercial districts there. So for the folks that are watching, we're hoping to break ground this December, on Flanigans, but we're not done yet. We're also recruiting, more restaurants as well.
Sure. Well, I kid you not. When I lived in D.C., I went up for school and worked there for a little bit. I think what I missed most about Miami was Flanigans. It's just the perfect place. I love it. So, I'll be swinging by. Please invite me to the opening, I should say. Some ribs and chicken, please.
And we also have and we also have another issue that we've been dealing with as well in Cutler Bay, is that we have like a 3-year waiting list for senior housing.
Yeah.
So what we've done to address that, the council has recently approved over 300 units. We have 100 units that are going to be going along the Transitway at the Quail Rouge stop. There's going to be 103 units there. And then we also have another one on right outside the footprint of the mall, but on 211th Street, literally across the street from the Social Security office. That's going to be the Pinnacle Group. That's going to have 200 units. But then we're not done. We have another one within the Lakes by the Bay. This one's a little bit more creative. We call this the intergenerational. It's going to be 322 units, 120 units secure for seniors, and 202 units for what we call hero housing and open market.
Wow.
We actually were able to secure and to negotiate with the developer to secure at least 20 units, dedicated 20 units for the Homestead Air Reserve base.
Oh, that's great.
And then the rest for first responders, teachers, police officers, firefighters, school staff. We always talk about the teachers, but we never talk about the cafeteria worker, the janitor.
Sure.
So we want to make sure that we included that, town employees as well. So that's going to be one of those intergenerational
I love that idea. I love it. As I think about retiring, and I still have a ways to go, and where we're going to go. And I don't love the idea of just like the villages or a place where you're just surrounded by seniors. Like, I love the idea of the mixing of the generations. I think that's great for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's one of those that my running joke when I go speak at different civic groups. Cutler Bay is such a great place. You're born here, raised here, and you end here.
There you go.
So
well, let's end there.
There you go.
Mr. Manager, one last thing. If people want to learn about all the amazing things happening at the town, where should they go?
Sure. Very easy. Just visit our website at the town of Cutler Bay, and literally takes 15 seconds to join our what's called e-notifications. Rod Gibbs is my communication manager. Literally, his office is 5 feet from my office. And we are all constantly posting meetings. A lot of times people will say, I missed that meeting. Kudos to Rod Gibson as well, because we have over 29,000 social media followers. Folks, we got 45,000 residents.
That's great.
So sometimes we want to get the word out. It's through a nice little short video. The Mayor Mirabal does a great job under his leadership. We run a lean, fast, efficient council meeting as well. I mean, we start right at 7, and it's all about business at that point.
Yeah.
So that is a tribute to all the council members that served in the past and the previous council and the mayors as well.
Well, Ralph, again, congratulations and kudos to you, to your team, to your commissioners. You all are doing a fantastic job.
And we couldn't have done it without the partnership with the CITT. I mean, we've had a long-standing relationship with you, your staff. All of our projects that I mentioned have to go through your committee as well, and our friends at TPO, and more importantly, our partners with Miami-Dade County Public Works Department. Well,
you're a great partner, and thank you for those kind words. So thank you for being a guest. Thank you for all that you do. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode episode of Mobility Matters. I want to thank our partners in this, Miami's Community News, and our producer Priscilla behind the cameras over there, doing a great job. I want to thank my kids, Charlie and Kayla, who are interning here for the summer. It's funny, you mentioned John Cosgrove. My first internship when I was a high school student was for State Representative John Cosgrove. So, those internships are important. So thank you, Miami's Community News, for doing that. And listen, we have some great programming coming up. So please stay tuned. We're here every other Thursday, 9:30 and 10 o'clock. And please check out some of our previous episodes. We've done over 100 of these, believe it or not, and they're all online.